liphalala kanjani izandla igazi labantu abamnyama ezandleni zabantu abamnyama, you know, sibulalana njani sisodwa. But I'll talk about the song a bit later. But
absolutely. No, man, it's just one of those songs that you can't help, you know, but it just takes you to places that, you know, you just end up, you know, with all of those thoughts as deep as in Jalo. But today we are not talking about the soul, we're talking about you. Today you are the point of interest, you know, and you know, just even letting people know, putting out the poster and telling people, because I was so excited, because I felt like you people like you know, are the reason why this show exists, because we want to bring you closer so that we can understand sometimes like what are the things, you know, that people, you know, are missing. Because I think that when we see abantu that are well achieved, we like to think that they got there ngendlela lula, you know, the person applied, you know, years of belief, value, and just applied different principles to be where they are. And this is why specifically your journey is interesting. But before we talk about that, I want you just to say in your own words about who is Thabani Mtsi.
So ndimuthabana George usikhalutiye kutsona ngoqoqa Mtsi elaqabala setshonqo. I say this because I think there is a huge significance kwinsusa.
Okay.
I'm standing on the shoulders of giants and ngizikhankanyile, you know, or George ozikhali ngabanye bala bablomama uGqirha ontswentshe omhlanje. These are the people that made me the person that I am today. So insusa yami leyo, ndikhule ndazalela ndaqatyelwa ndaqeqeshwa eMonti, aqala eMdantsane from ukuzalwa until late primary school, early high school. Semka ke ngoku saya eSunny Ridge apha sahlala kwindawo kuthiwa iSunset Bay, you know, predominantly colored area. Ndaphinda ndabuyela eMdantsane ohlala pha for some more years. So iMonti likhaya lami.
Okay.
Ke ngoku ndisaStellenbosch, ngabula maphukulu izwe lomdiliya nengcinezelo. Ze ngozofunda kwicala, I'm a civil engineering master's student. Uba ke inhlelo zami ngale ndlela ndifuna zihambe ngalo, this year should be my final year
wow
research. But today I come in my capacity as a speaker, trainer, and coach.
Wow.
Public speaking.
Wow, and you know that is so interesting. I think you one of the few people that, you know, before you speak, you know, you go back and you take it right from the roots. And I think, you know, as you say, Bana, there's significance in that. I think it's also, you know, special that, you know, regardless of Bana, you know, what platforms Esifika goes, you know, it always just reminds us nje who we are, and that is just always beautiful to see. But like Thabani, I want to speak, you know, a little bit about the kind of work that you do. You know, of course I have read for the people, you know, the qualifications that you have, but with everything, you know, that you've done, what would you say with regards to your work, you know, is your main ambition behind everything that you do? And just speak a little bit about the work that you do, and then speak a little bit about what is it that, you know, pushes you in that sense.
Before I share some of this, I want to encourage everyone out at home and whoever's listening, whether you're on, well, if you're not on a road, maybe not, but kupani notebooks, ne?
Okay.
As my mantra says, it's to express, not to impress, but to impart. And I'm on the platform to tell you what my accolades are and how great of a person I am. I really want to impart knowledge and insight and open up Amatubo for Abantu to take up and sort of fulfill what they've been called to do. So I hope your notebooks, they're out. If I go out, find yourself a notebook and start writing. So with regards to mantra,
yes, break that down.
Not to impress, but to impart. What that is founded on, it's founded on the Christian principle of serving. I'm here to serve in all that I do. is to serve. Yeah? And I serve in various platforms. I try and use my skills, talents, and knowledge to impart. And the ubizo lwam, it's to inspire and edify those within my sphere of influence.
Absolutely.
So I want to break down liti edify liti inspire. Edify is a word that it's a double-edged sword. It is the moral and intellectual instruction for development.
Yes.
You understand? So yenzayo is to morally or to intellectually develop.
Yes.
I target the head and the heart. You understand? But I think that's where most of the decisions are made. Indlela umzekelo umuntu oyindoda obona ngayo umuntu obhinqileyo is based on what they think and what they feel.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And what they think is based on the intellect, what they've heard, what they've internalized, and what they feel is based on what they receive and how they act towards it. And I often say that the root of all oppression is insecurity, which is why I think is fine, no my GPV, no my racism. But we'll talk about that a bit later. So that's those are sort of my motivators when I says for you. Into Sam is from a place of service. It's from a place of imparting, and I've been fortunate enough and blessed enough, to be given several talents. I think like I'm in music, I'm in arts, I'm in poetry. There's a civil engineering, there's a speaking. So there's quite a bit that I think I'm able to do, and it would be a shame to not use those talents, because I want to take everyone back to the parable of talents, and to those who are not familiar with the parable of talents, I'm going to paraphrase it quickly. Five, and I'm probably getting the numbers wrong, but you're going to get the point. 5 talents, another was given 3 talents, the one was given 1 talent. The one who was given 5, I think, doubled or tripled them. The one that was given 3 also doubled or tripled them. But the one that was given 1 buried that talent under the ground. And when the master came back to him, he was like, I know how much you appreciate and love Windows Hako, so I hid it under the ground so that back as is.
Exactly.
And the judgment was that I'm going to give it to those who used what they have. So also, to whom much is given, much is expected. So it's from that principle that I want to use my skills, talents, and knowledge to try and edify those within my sphere of influence. And we inspire apasuka khona ndimve ebantwini, I think this is what people have been giving me feedback based on, so inspiring is such an inspiration. We are inspiring essential feedback endifumana ebantwini leyo about what I do, where places are. And so I often describe that as the world's gift to me. That's what the world said. They said, listen, we inspiration, and then my gift to the world, I was like, through this sphere of influence that I've been given, I'm going to choose to edify, which is to morally and intellectually improve.
Wow, like you've touched on so many things that I'm interested to talk about, and one of those things that you mentioned is just the importance of responding to your talents, your gifts and talents, and the abilities, the natural God-given talents that you have. And I think most of the time we struggle to strike that balance when we have, when we have discovered more than one talent. It becomes, an issue where sometimes we don't really know how to steward over all of them. So how do you balance? Because there's so many gifts and talents that you have, and exactly how to function within them, but it's the difficulty of having to choose sometimes because of your priorities. But how do you balance being an individual that has so many different gifts and talents and making sure there's no one that you leave behind, but you prioritize all of them, and you do, you give your full attention, even in execution of them. I would figure with music, but you're doing a bit less. I would figure in speaking, you keeping the same energy, but in all of that, how do you balance that?
That's a tough one, and let me first say, into a balance, I think. I don't want to say the word balance is a misrepresentation, but you have to reframe indlela endiyibona ngayo mna into balance uyabo. I don't at any given point in time work on speaking, music, academics, whatever. Central and is doing this vanga song at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
Corners hotlayo at particular points kunyugezi. And this is I think I want to say a gift that I've learned over the years. Yabo. Ngumntu okwazi ukuzimcuza siswam. I can immerse fully immerse myself.
Focus on something.
Uba nomuntu othile uyabo. Andikwazi noyicofa ifoni because I'm being disrespectful to the person on the phone or lo mntu ndihleli naye but ndimcuzekile, I'm within the conversation. And so it goes for a phone. Once ndichola ifoni ndiphendula messages ngoku, abantu around me know that phendula messages uzawuthi isidala Thabani andiniva yabo, because I'm fully immersed in that which I'm doing. So it goes with all of these talents that I have to be a steward for. Ngiyalithanda igama elithi steward because that's essentially what we've been called to do. So in whatever that I do, predominantly I'm focusing on the master's thesis, the academics, and everything academic. Fully immersed as extensively as possible.
So you're pretty much saying, Bana, it's a matter of prioritizing and not, doing everything all at once, because of you have to be in the moment and be all in. And if you focused on that particular thing, and I don't believe, Bana, that is a possibility if one does not have a clear vision and a clear direction and a clear, value system about, everything that they're pursuing. So it just leads me, to ask you to speak a little bit about finding purpose, in everything that you do, because I believe, Bana, for you to be able to have, even, the capacity to steward over the gifts and talents and everything else that you've been given, is because you truly believe that all these things, are what is in your purpose, so that it's innate inside of you to steward over them well. And you've learned to do this. But speak a little bit about that, because I do know that, there are young people listening to you right now and they're like, wow, I am even still struggling to find purpose, even though I'm doing all these things that I'm doing. Okay, is like, I haven't even started. I don't know how do I find. So what would you say is the step in the right direction with regards to finding purpose?
So with regards to purpose, I think I want to liken it to even with a six-pack and following me here. Follow me. I'm not trying to make a when the human body was created, the abdominal muscles were created in the muscle fibers.
Yes.
And we adorn the body in various ways. We have in different ways. And it's all okay. Essential, as long as we're happy, I'm good. But it's always there, I believe, in the six-pack. You understand? Six-pack, call you. Purpose, call you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And now the challenge that we often find, I think, I've never been an advocate for purpose. You know what I mean? That's like saying, because you know what I'm saying? I don't believe in that. But I think there are ways in which that you can realignment when necessary. You know what I'm saying? It's always there, but realignment and no realignment, it's a daily practice. Do you know what I mean? I'm off alignment. I'm not working in line with purpose. So there's no perfect answer. I don't think there's someone who's always in line with their purpose. Because in essence, you're perfect in that sense. So realignment is the guy.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying. The truth about it is that there's no perfect answer. But more for the most part, I think it starts with that realization that, you know, we all have purpose, and then we won't find the answer the right way, but it's actually just about us going out and doing all these things that, you know, we believe bana zizinto sizinikiwe ngubawo. And I think, you know, with that journey, you know, you end up finding, you know, your feet in what it is that, you know, you really grounded for. But like, you know, I think sometimes, you know, the practicality of those things, it be a challenge in the sense that sometimes, you know, we are very gifted, we are very talented, and we have all these things that we are known to be good at, but then like our problem is that sometimes, you know, we lack the character to sustain, you know, those gifts and talents. And I think I'm going to take a musical break, and then when we come back, I want us to speak a little bit about that, you know, the detriment of character on purpose and on, you know, the gifts and talents that you have. Because as we say, as we're going on, you know, it's almost as if it is all about stewardship, right? And for that to be in practicality, you have to be one, you know, who exercises certain values in your life. And I think when we come back, I'd like us to dwell a little bit on that. So let's take a song break, and I do hope that Nyani Umpulapule Kaya has a pen and paper in hand, because if you've just joined us, I am with Thabani Mtsi, and we're talking about his journey, man, and his lessons learned. And he is here, you know, to bring insight even to us about, you know, our gifts and talents and our purpose in pursuit of leadership in our own right. So do make sure that you stick around and come back with us. It's now 20 minutes after 4 o'clock, and right after the song break, we continue the conversation.
In the mix, you're tuned into Eminent, presented by with your host Violeta Thabani on Radio 537, your piece of rising ground.
28 minutes after 4 o'clock. Welcome back to Eminence with V. This is your favorite show, man. What we call your piece of rising ground. Beautiful music there by Kabza the Small. Beautiful song by Neil called Nielo. And just now you're hearing Uthandiswa Mazwai with the beautiful song that I love so much. Eti Nizilibeluba Nizalwa Ngobani. And today I am with Thabani Mtsi, and right before the music, if you've just been hanging out with us ever since we started our conversation, we are touching, man, on so many important things. And just before the break, you were talking about just the importance, you know, of finding purpose and stewarding over your gifts, and the issue, you know, of character. So welcome back, Thabani.
I'm excited to go into the second segment.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back to the second segment of the interview. So I hope that you did think about the question that I asked you before the music.
I did to try, and it was on Lungs if I'm misquoting it, but it's about character and the effect of character in finding one's purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Sustaining, you know, just your gifts and talents. Because I said the problem sometimes is that our character is not in line, you know, with what we need to sustain those gifts and talents.
That's, you know, character is very interesting. And before I dive straight into that, I first want to give an example about I just carry out through the analogy I made about a six-pack, with regards to purpose. Much like many people, ezabanye six-pack ziyabonwa nguzwelonke xa bekhulile beyabonakala, you know, and ezabanye azibonakali. And as I said, there's no right or wrong there, as long as you know that it's there and you know how to use it. So I think we all fall into the trap of thinking, oh no, my purpose must be, you know, phambi kozwelonke, now mandi interview yabona on radio, and we forget the little moments where we are walking in purpose and we're serving our purpose. Uthetha nomntu, uthetha nomeza mhlawumbe, you know, speaking to your parents, speaking to loved ones, and speaking to abantu in your community. So that also constitutes part of character, part of purpose. And also, it's heavily dependent on character, you know. And one of my favorite quotes about a character, because I found out it's from one of my favorite books, Mind, Character and Personality, Volume 2, from Mr. Ellen G. White. Phenomenal. The name of the book is Mind, Character and Personality, Volume 2. The found chapter 59.
Okay.
It's a character formation. Now it says, open quotation, every act influences character. Every act of life, however unimportant, has its influence in forming the character. A good character is more precious than worldly possessions, and the work of forming it is the noblest in which man can engage.
Wow.
You understand? So, about a character, I always say, is the sum of habit. Ne? Into vuyenza kusasa, you're contributing to your character. You know, if you tell yourself, "Ndizavuka kusasa ndenza A, B no C," uvuke wena kusasa wenza A no C, la B umqakathileyo is going to affect your character. You know, and it builds with regards to umlungu. You know, I want to segue also into the conversation that was had on refining perspectives is all, and I want to encourage Abapula to go find that content, refining perspectives about India's fight and corruption, you know, and to tie in the importance of youth leadership. I think if it's a only when we get to those positions, you know, of public service, whether you want to be president or vice president or minister of so and so, top at this firm or top lawyer at this firm, if you think only then and only then uzawumelwa zingqondo to know that ayithathwa into yomntu, then you're mistaken. If you're able to today utekelele into line when there's a line of 70 people, because you know someone, you hop on to the front and you're like, listen man, Sivuyo, Erasmus, Kanchuni, Hlale. That is the basis of corruption. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same principle. The stakes are not going to seem as high. Perhaps go be 2 million, but when you're getting 70 million, 2 million becomes the equivalent of jumping into line. Do you know what I'm saying? So as this for me, if we take here, we take there, we cheat here, we cheat there, we are building a character for the leaders that we're going to be tomorrow. And I think it would be a mistake, a grave mistake, if we were to think they're doing because they are stupid and unintelligent. Abantu fell into a trap, you know. And one of my favorite quotes, E.T., corruption is unconquered poverty. Abantu that are sitting with shadows, that are hoarding imali, that are hoarding resources, but now because they're so deeply entrenched, they don't understand how much what they're doing is detrimenting abantu nesizwe asibasikhokhelayo. So a character is a daily practice. Everything you do, every act contribute to forming.
Wow, you dropping bars. I have a friend of mine who likes to say that whenever he hears something deep, he'd be like, whoa, those are bars. And I feel like if you are not writing notes and if you're not taking everything down right now, you're cheating yourself. And you know, you touch on so many important things, Thabani, because you know, with regards to the questions that I've been asking you, I wanted to initially lead it to that conversation around the importance of youth in leadership, you know. And I feel like, you know, these issues with our character, zizo ezizifike, even, you know, when we get to those levels, and it's the small habits that we've been carrying, you know, on the journey, on the way, even before Sibekanti we get that promotion, even before Sibekanti we get that opportunity. The reason why we fail when we get to those opportunities to steward well over them is because we didn't train ourselves, you know, to be leaders, even in private, when people cannot even see you, but when it in yourself, you know, you don't do izinto that are outside of, you know, your laws of integrity and your values, right? And you know, I think that sometimes also, you know, it's also, as you say, a trap, you know, of habitual thinking. It's also a trap also of our ego, of thinking that, you know, we can attain a certain level of success without putting in the work with regards to our personality, our mindset, and just our hearts internally. I think that, you know, even with regards to that, there's work that we need to do also on the inside of this. And this leads me, you know, to my next question for you, before we close it off. Bana, what are some of, you know, the principles that you live by that allow you to excel, you know, in the work that you do? And not only that, but that allow you to remain, you know, with your integrity? Because I understand that, you know, with the kind of exposure that you have and you've had in your life, there's also an amount of challenge that comes, you know, with that responsibility as well. So what kind of principles, you know, would you say we lack as young people to be applying in our work in terms of our pursuit of success in that regard?
Hey, I'm going to try and highlight as many things as possible. And almost categorize. Because it becomes very tough to articulate. So I think one principle I think I always hold true, is that I'm a student of life. You understand? I think very seldom do I, and but if when you let's say you were hired as, I don't know, the Secretary General of the United Nations, when the mistakes best believe yonke laa nto iphazamileyo nalo ipasileyo ndizayifuna. You understand? I remember sisebancinci ndandithanda uhamba nabantu abadala ke mna, yabo, nam yabo, ndizezi zinto zicima mafama zihamba nebras, yabo, and just hanging around people that are older than me. Kuthanda kuthiwa hey bras ningathethi kakhulu ikhona, you know. And I think since that point, like, I'm information ndiyayifuna. Yabona uma benikweso studio sakho ngoku ngendiphathe izinto ndibuza uba yintoni le, isuka phi le, uthatha phi le, wenze njani uba online radio, what does this mean? So I'm always constantly trying to suck up information. And I think at the base of loo nto sesivuye humility ndincancebeleni, you know. Abazali bam abantu abazithobe kakhulu, both my father and my mother, you know, they're not boastful, they bazithobile, you know, and ngabantu abaxabisileyo abantu, you know. And I think eyona nto endinothi uba ngathi mandikhethe into eyi-one endiyifunde ekhaya, it's mazi umntu, you know. And so this is all cornerstone by lento ye-humility and always being a student. Nabani na ungafunda nto kuye, you know. I can't count how many times ndakhe nabhilwa yi-security guard ngasekhaya, you know. I can't count how many times ndakhe nabhilwa yi-car guard. Ngabantu ke aba traditionally sinobajongela ezantsi because of the occupation, but because wena ucinga mafama yabo sendaweni ezithile uneento ezithile ujongela ezantsi umntu kanti uyaphoswa zinceba nazintsikelelo. So that's the first thing. Paul is a student of life. Humility. And I think secondly, which is also, I guess, derived from Lond, the you know, I try and remember getting tunyiwe. Do you remember because you know what I mean? Sometimes we utsalwe zezinye izinto ezithile, you know, you see, I don't want to say the lights and all of that stuff, but mhlawumbe abantu bayakuncoma, hey ucinga bafama wena ngelakho, hey ndim lo ungoma isifuba. You know what I'm saying?
Our ego comes in the way sometimes.
So it was important to remember that for mna, you know, ndithunyiwe, you know, yonke lento endiyenzayo ingathathwa nanini na. You know what I'm saying? Uthixo has endowed me with, as I said, a lot of gifts, and that's a responsibility that I need to fulfill. So when all is said and done, you know what, ezinto ndiphathisa zona nazi ndizimultiplyile, nanze ndiyitransfere kulo, nanze ndiyitransfere kulo, nanze ndiyitransfere kulo. And I think yonke le ndithayo, it sort of ties in together kulaa nto ye-service. This is tunyo, you know. I'm here to do a particular task, and I try as much as possible to not make that task about me, even though it's for me.
Exactly.
It's not about me, but it's for me. It's for my fulfillment, for me to be better, it's for me to be a better human. Right, holistically. Because when you use up what you've been given, contrary to popular belief, we are cooler. You know, the more you give, the more you get, and the more you're able to give, and the more fulfilled you get. So it's about about and just to serve, you know.
Wow. And I think
so. I think those are just two principles.
No, go on.
So I was saying, I think those are just two principles that I think are foundational. And then isn't this fun again with persistence, you know. Since I've been ridiculed, you know, so many times. Then patum poko got school you know, patum poko, patamas, so it's like a rule again.
Oh my goodness.
It's a cell phone. Imagine a cheese. Don't creme brulee, you know. So being in that position of being ridiculed, you realize that, you know what, they don't know the conversations I was having with God. I'm having with God.
Exactly.
They don't need to know.
Exactly.
And so yonke manlandi ongafuna uba cool, ukhawuleze ndizibone uba cool ndiyabhatyaza every time, which is actually all rooted in just service and humility.
Wow.
You know, service and humility.
Wow. You know, Thabani, I appreciate so much having this conversation with you. And, you know, just as Uteta, I wish that I was taking down notes. But luckily, for me and everyone else who's listening, this conversation will be available on YouTube. So we will upload it on Radio 537, the channel. So if you are on YouTube, please go and subscribe so that you can get these kind of conversations and more. And you know, I do believe, Bana, you've done so much justice to the conversation, because you summarized well, even, you know, that this issue of leadership, it's even though it's for us, but it's not about us. It's about service, it's about humility, and it's about, you know, carrying that integrity throughout. And just before we close it off, Thabani, I'm just going to give you a few minutes so that you can be able to say goodbye to the listeners, and also tell people that are just interested to know more about you, maybe work related, how they can reach you. So I'm just going to give you that opportunity to close it off. You can say your last words and then tell people where they can reach you.
Look, from my side, before this is for you, for the work that you all are doing, you know, I think it's so inspiring. And in Ignika Umfoto, you know, you see young people doing phenomenal things, and you want to join in, not on the movement, but it arises something. For giving us the most precious commodity, probably emhlabeni, you know, time. I listened to a podcast a few weeks ago. They were saying, if you ask some of the richest people, you know, at the end of their lives, what they wish they could have back, and often it's health and time. And Abapula have given us both of those today. The health in the form that essentially we're always online, we're always on some device, but you compromised, benefited your health by coming through in course. Thank you for your time. And to find me, Instagram Instagram Thabani_Mtsi, and then on LinkedIn it's Thabani Mtsi, on Facebook it's Thabani Mtsi. There's a person your name.
Okay, no.
And then in case of the booking for the speaking, you can just email us on africaisglobal@gmail.com. And that is Africa, I'm spelling okay, Africa is at gmail.com for booking for any speaking, coaching or training.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Thabani. Thank you so much. I am just so blessed to have had this conversation with you, and I do know, Bana even Numpulapul Ekaya has learned a thing or two, and I do know, Bana, if anyone was writing notes today along the way, they will find Iklesha and actually refer, to some of the things that you have spoken about. We thank you so much, Thabani, for your wisdom and also for sharing your time and insight with us. We appreciate that so much on Radio 537, and may you just continue being the inspiration that you are, and we thank you so much. We just appreciate you, and hopefully next time in anything, we are here to support you in all your ways. Thank you so much.